Have you ever wondered why some runners can consistently train for races, go for long runs, and actually get stronger into their 40s, 50s, and even 60s without getting injured, while other runners seem to always have some sort of nagging ache, pain, or injury going on? And you're a woman who loves to run, whether you're an aspiring runner just starting your journey, you're somewhere as a beginner, or you've qualified for Boston, or somewhere in between. This video is going to pertain to you because you're probably wondering, well, what's the difference between this runner and this runner? And today in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3-step framework that the best female runners in the world use to consistently run injury-free while hitting their running goals. Because a lot of the advice out there from traditional physical therapy and medical practices, this big model. Okay, this is what I call the traditional medical system. So you're going to have some different branches within it. So you're going to have physical therapy, chiropractors somewhere in there. Then you're also going to have your doctors, orthopedists, sports medicine doctors. And the thing with the traditional medical model is the common advice that you're going to be given with running is going to be somewhere along the lines of a banded exercise, maybe stretching, or some generic strength routine, maybe bodyweight exercises, or rest, other corrective modalities for pain relief options. And the truth of the matter is, all of these options for serious runners, they don't get you the performance goals, the injury prevention, getting you back to a level where you're confident with running again. They don't get you there, because ultimately what ends up happening, I see it so many times, is women often get to the point where they're told, oh, just, bike more, take up swimming, maybe run less and do a little more strength training. And they get the common advice, oh, this is just normal as you get older, after having kids, you just have to slow down. And the fact of the matter, it is not true. Okay. And the truth is, this whole traditional medical system is very reactive in its approach. It handles injuries when they come up versus giving you things to proactively set you up to prevent them from coming on in the first place. And today I'm going to walk you through that 3-step framework that these top women runners in the world are using. And if you're like the women I work with, my clients, women that want to complete races, whether it be 5K all the way up to full marathon or even ultra, or you want to do something like a Hyrox, or you're simply running for your physical health, mental health, longevity, or somewhere in between, inspiring your kids, bringing back your confidence, challenge and push yourself, whatever it may be. If you're like the women I work with, my name is Dr. Alex Warren. I'm a running specialist. I do have a degree as a doctor of physical therapy, but what I do is not from a traditional physical therapy sense. And here is just a few of clients I've worked with. And here's a client. She completed her first 5K. She's I won't out her. She's over the age 60. And then also some other clients going through some screens with me. And then obviously some client wins here. So jumping into the video and getting into step 1 here. The very first thing that the best runners in the world, the best female runners in the world are doing is they are understanding something I call their running profile. So what that is understanding exactly where you are right now and getting your starting point, because the best runners in the world, they have a system in place that assesses their current readiness level to run. But the difference through any sort of assessment or system that they're using that other general medical models, coaches, providers aren't using is their system is built through a runner's perspective. Okay, so this is how I have designed my program. And in step 1, you'll see here, we are putting you through various mobility. This would be a mobility screen, one of various ones I use, but we're challenging and testing the knees, the hips, the ankles, the feet, all the things that are relevant to running, and we're challenging the tissues, the joints, the tendons in a way that is specific to running, and we're getting good information, not only to set you up to follow a good training plan to prevent injury, but if you even have a current injury, we're going to address it quickly. So going through here, what you're going to see is This is a way we're doing a plyometric drill. And you notice we're getting feedback live on the call, which is very important. Your provider should be doing, because what you're feeling, how you're moving, how your body's reacting is all part of the process. And in that video, we're doing plyometrics, which are testing tendon elasticity, which is extremely important when we're talking about running longevity, speed, injury prevention. And then we're doing mobility screens, moving, and then you'll even notice here, you might think, oh, well, this is just a basic squat, but putting you through movements, again, we're looking at ankles, hips, and knees, and we're getting feedback and looking for specific things in the pelvis, center of mass, and we're relating it all back to running. That is really the key with this assessment, that everything is done through a runner's perspective, because runners can have the same injury as somebody else, but the cause and the cure for that injury is going to be totally different, because of the demands, the wear and tear that running specifically has on your body. And as we move forward here, again, you're going to see more screens. Again, checking important things, ankles, knees, hips, and then more testing to understand what we need to do from a training plan after the fact. So in this first step here, this is your runner's profile, and this is going to tell us where there are gaps in your training that can improve areas that might be tight or weak, or help you improve your ability to prevent injuries in the future. Or if you do have a current injury, it's going to get down to exactly the origin of the problem. And again, the big thing with all of this is it's all done through a runner's perspective. Okay, so everything is done in the idea of setting the human body up, the anatomy, to be successful with running. And that is ultimately the difference, and oftentimes why I've talked to so many runners and helped so many women after they've done physical therapy. They've tried run coaching, they've used apps, ChatGPT, YouTube, Instagram, exercise, the fancy recovery routines, PRP, new shoes. I mean, you name it. None of those options, they don't start with this. This is the gold standard any sort of program should start with. And this is, I promise you, what the best female runners in the world are using to design all of their training plans, whether it be rehab, injury prevention, strength training, doesn't matter. This is where they start. So moving on to step number 2, this is where I call it in my system the runner rebuild method. Okay, and this is where the human body is built to withstand the sport of running. Okay, because running, we know by the research, it has 3 to 5 to even up to 7 times your body weight. 7 times your body weight. So if let's say you're 100 pounds, if you're running even at a moderate pace, maybe a little more intense, you can get up to 700 pounds of force on your body just from running. So preparing your body to handle the demands of running and handle aches, pains, injuries proactively before they come up, that is the key versus reactively handling things in a traditional medical sense. And that is what the best women are doing to consistently run over time, to train for races, inspire their kids and their families on their journeys, and to have their confidence in their body that they can challenge themselves physically and mentally for the next 20 plus years. So what we do is we take the information up here from your running profile, and then we are programming everything in exactly where it needs to be. So for example, maybe you need a little pelvis control, hip mobility. We're going to do something like this, or a variation of it. If you need more core control and run form practice, we know exactly what to plug in. If you need things like calf and hamstring capacity in a single leg. You'll notice here, single leg. That's a huge part of any running program. We're going to do that. And again, you'll notice quad capacity, eccentrically, in a single leg stance. Again, we're loading here. That's something you need. And when I say eccentrically, when you run, let's draw a runner. When you run and your foot lands on the ground here, your knee is going to go from a straight knee when it lands to a bent knee. Excuse my drawing, but so your quad has to work 3, 4, 5 times as hard to control those forces, and your muscles have to act this way. And if they're not prepared to do that, this is how we get injuries. We lose our pace. We feel tired after runs. And ultimately, that's the things we don't want, right? And now this, in my opinion, is the lifeblood of any good runner's program, specifically for women. After the fact you're getting older, menopause is going on, hormone levels affect your bone, your tendon, your joints, your muscles. And the gold standard training prevention technique is going to be plyometrics. And I cannot stress this enough. So if something, this will be in your program anytime you work with me. Now, what you'll do specifically will depend on what your readiness level is, what your goals are. But plyometric is different variations of jumping and landing. Okay. And essentially, and this one we're going more for tendon, the Achilles tendon here, because it's quicker. You notice it's quicker movements, getting on and off the ground. Versus here, we're loading in. You'll notice I'm loading into that leg and then getting out of it. So we're going more for muscle and joint. And a good program is going to have both. But again, depending on exactly what you need, that will depend. But I promise you, plyometrics, if you're not doing it, you need to be doing it. So to quickly recap before we get into step 1 and 2, the best runners in the world, they know their starting point. Sorry, my marker was messing up. They know their starting point, and then they are following a personalized plan to set them up to be stronger runners, more efficient, more capable runners, to be able to cross the finish line of races and do it all while having the confidence in their body to show up. And again, the big thing is it's all personalized. So you could need mobility in your hip, right? You could need run form. You could need calf, hamstring, maybe quad, plyometrics, tendon work. Doesn't matter. But if it's not made specifically for how you move, your running form, your goals, the time you have to train a day, the equipment you have access to, the number of days you can do things, that's specificity, how specific your training plan is. That is what is going to keep you consistently training and running and doing it without getting injured. Because the best runners in the world, oftentimes we think they have the exceptional drive, discipline, motivation. They have bodies that are built for running. They have amazing genetics. And what if I told you none of that is true? That is not what separates them. Those are part of it, but I promise you what they're doing is this right here. Because they know when they are able to consistently run and train without injuries or performance going down, that consistency is what gets them to their goals. And before I get into step 3, it's also a very important part. If this is something you like, hit that like and subscribe button because I will be putting out more videos. And if you're ready to learn about your running profile and to follow a personalized plan to hit your running goals, use the link in the description below the call. You can book a call with me and we'll talk directly. So step number 3, the last part of this is what I call the coaching loop. Okay. And you're probably wondering, why am I calling it the coaching loop? And the reason this is important is because, let's be honest, right? we have all these different areas of telling us, well, these are the best exercises on Instagram to do. These are, this is what Google and Chat GPT are telling me. This is why I have this pain. And then everybody on YouTube has these long strength routines. And then you're going to go to, we're just going to call that an H. You're going to go to a medical provider and they're going to tell you to rest and, cut back mileage or do this long activation warm-up routine, or they want to give you a shot. And you're left there just like, what in the heck is going on? I feel so overwhelmed. There's so much, conflicting advice and evidence out there. So what do I do? And like the amazing Shalane Flanagan here, you need a coach to make sense of it all for you. And that's really the beauty of it, because all this conflicting advice, we are in the age of, we have so much information. You can get on ChatGPT, YouTube, Instagram, Google, all the things I just mentioned, and get all the information at your fingertips. So why do we still not hit our goals? Why do we still have aches and pains? And the fact of the matter is, it's not the information, it's the implementation. And when you have all this information, it can feel overwhelming, and you might start over here, get to a point, feel like you're making progress, but then you don't really get to where you want to go. So you come back here, and now you start to make some progress, and then you change course correct and you start going this way, and now you're here, and next thing you know, you're just going in circles, and you're not really getting the traction you want, the results you want. And a coach, what they can do is understand exactly, now in regards to running, they need to specialize in running specifically, but taking all the information and making it into a plan. Making it into a plan of what levers to pull for you. When should I push? When should I pull back? What days should I run? What days should I do strength? How do I know what I'm feeling is normal? Is it the injury getting worse? Is the pain getting worse? All of these questions you have, having a coach is going to help you do that. And that's the feedback that you get in what you're not going to get in traditional in-person care, whether it be insurance or non-insurance. They don't give you the support outside the sessions. And I see it so many times. I talk to runners, they're stuck to go into a session. It's 30 to 60 minutes. They're not really getting that one-to-one care. But as soon as they leave, they don't have any sort of plan, communication with their doctor. They don't get support and feedback when they need. And that's how you get in this rabbit hole of chasing your tail, so to speak. And then now we're doing this. We're like, who's doing what? What in the heck? I don't know what's going on here. It's a classic Spider-Man meme. I like to use humor and things with how I coach and stuff. So, but my point is, I've walked you through the 3-step framework, and this is exactly what you need to achieve all the running goals you want, whether it be crossing the race of a finish line, across the finish line of a race, staying injury-free, doing it for 20, 30 plus years, having longevity, your physical, mental health, inspiring your kids, other women on the journey, whatever it may be, this is it right here. Figure out your starting point, your running profile, follow a personalized training plan that is made for running specifically, and have a coach that can help you and support you and specializes in running along the way. So if this is helpful, I hope it was. Take this information, go kick butt. Again, if it's something you want more direct help with, plug and play with me directly, book a call on the link below, and we can see if it makes sense to chat. But I'll see you on the next one.